Today we are going to find the area of parallelograms. And so let's take a look at our formula real fast. And so whenever we're dealing with the area of a parallelogram, we're taking a look at the base and the height. So our area formula is base times by height. And you know where the base is and the height are connected by a right angle symbol. So you have to be careful. In some of the problems, they'll give you more information than you really need. So let's take a look at our first problem here. Here's a parallelogram. Parallelograms have two sides that are parallel, two sets of sides. And so look for this right angle symbol, this symbol right here. And that tells us that we have our height as 9 centimeters and our base is 15 centimeters. So the height is the distance between two of the parallel sides. So all you're going to do is just, for our formula, substitute in place of the base, we're going to put 15. In place of the height, we're going to put 9. And then we're just going to multiply those two numbers. So 15 times by 9 gives us 135. And since we're dealing in area, we've got centimeters squared. And that is our area. So let's take a look at our next problem here. Now, again, they're giving us more information than we need. So circle the right angle symbol. And the two sides that are connected by the right angle symbol are the base and the height. So this is our height. It's our height because it's the distance between the two bases. This is our base. This is extra information we do not need. And so if we needed the perimeter, then we would use that, but we're not asking for the perimeter here. They're asking for the area. So it's just area equals base times by height. Substitute those numbers in there. 2 and 1/10 times by, and then we have 2 and 4/10. So it's double-digit multiplication. And when you end up doing that, you end up with 5 and 400. So you first get 504, then you move the decimal 2 spaces to the right, and that's meters squared. So looking at our next problem here, we've got, this time, mixed numbers. When we're trying to multiply mixed numbers, we're going to end up having to change those to improper fractions to be able to get the right answer. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, again, this is our right angle symbol. So again, this is our height, and this is our base. And let's go ahead and change these right now to these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So you do that by doing 4 times 2 plus 1. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 makes 9. And then always over the divisor, the denominator of the fractions, 9 over 2. 4 and 2/3, again, same sort of thing. You're multiplying 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So 14 over 3. So those are the numbers I'm going to end up using. And so we go ahead and write in our area formula. Again, base times height. Our base is this 4 and 2/3, but we're going to write down 14/3 this time. And then our height is 4.5, but instead of 4.5, we're going to use 9/2. Now, before you multiply straight across, look for cross canceling. See if you can reduce the fraction at all. So you see how 3 goes into this 9 3 times, 2 goes into the 14 7 times. So you multiply across, and we have our area as 21 yards squared. That is our answer. So everything canceled out in the denominator, so we just had the numerator left over. Well, those are some parallelograms. Now we have some special parallelograms I learned in the last chapter called rectangles. Well, rectangles have right angles. Now they're right angles because the definition of a rectangle is a parallelogram with all congruent angles. All the angles are the same. In order for that to be the case, since all the angles add up to make 360, they all have to be 90. So right away, we already know what the base and the height are. This could be our base here, and this would be our height. And so our area formula, again, is just base times height. And so we're just substituting the numbers in there. So base is 15 and 6/10, and we're multiplying that by 8. So we've got 8 times 6 is 48, and then 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 makes 44. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 makes 12. So we move the decimal just one space over this time, and we get this 24 and 8/10 yards squared, and that is our area. Well, another one like that, the difference here is that we've got a mixed number. So anytime you got a mixed number, change it to an improper fraction. So this is the same thing as 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 makes 23 fourths. And so we're just going to use the base and the height. Here's our base. We'll say this is our height, and substitute it into our formula. And so we end up with an 8 times by 23 fourths. Now treat that 8 as a fraction. Treat that as like 8 over 1, and look for the cross canceling. 4 goes into 8 2 times. You multiply straight across, we end up with 46 feet squared. Well, these next few problems are asking us to do some graphing, and then we're going to end up finding the area of the figure. So these represent the vertices. Vertices is plural for vertex. And vertex are the corners. So 2, 0, got that point. 5, 3, so over 5 spaces, and then up 1, 2, 3. And then 8, 0, so we go over 8 spaces, up 0, and then 11, 3, so up 1, 2, 3. And so there's our figure. And so it looks like a trapezoid, or not trapezoid, but parallelogram. And so we've got our parallelogram. Now we need to find the area. So what we'll need to do is find out what the height is. Now the height is the distance between the two parallel sides. So I'm going to use this as my base here. So I'm counting the spaces first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6 spaces. And then I count the height. So I go down this way. It looks like there's 3 spaces going down to make a perpendicular. And so all I have to do is 6 times by 3 gives me my area. So I have 18 inches, or 18, how about units this time? Since I don't really know what the units are, we'll say units squared. Well, let's take a look at another one. Got to graph the points. -1, -2, so over 1 to the left, down 2. And then over 4, down 2. -1, 5, so over 1, up 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like it's going to be a rectangle this time. And then 4, 5. And so here's our shape. It's a rectangle. And so what we'll do is just find the base, and the height is just the other side. So we count the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces this way. Count the spaces going down, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces down that way. So our area equals 5 times 7. So the area is going to be 35 units squared. Well, looking at the next two problems are word problems. So take a look at what they say. What is the length of the base of a parallelogram with an area this time? So look at this. They give us area of 36 centimeters squared. The height is 4.5. So they want to know what is the base. That's the question. So let's draw a little picture. What's going on here? We've got this parallelogram. We know the height is 4.5. So the distance going down this way is 4.5 centimeters. We know the area already. Area equals 36. So remember the formula. The formula goes area equals base times height. Well, we know the height. It's 4.5. We just don't know what the base is. So times by the base equals 36. So we have to get the base by itself. We need to solve for that. So we're going to have to do an opposite operation. What's the opposite of multiplying? It's division. So we got to divide by 4.5. So that's what we'll do here. So we divide by that 4.5. Let's fix this real quick. Make this look a little bit easier to see. So there's the 4.5. So we go ahead and do that division. So again, when we do that, move that decimal point over in the divisor space and the dividend. So it's going to go over one space, go over one space, so it's 360. So as we do that division, We try, well, 45 doesn't go into 36, so maybe cover up the 5 and cover up the 0. 4 goes into 36 about 9 times. But since it was 45, I'm going to try 8. See what happens. So this makes 40, 32, and 4 make 36, so it does work out. So there it is. 8 is the base, 8 centimeters. Next one here, it says window is composed of 6 window panes. Each has a length of 10.5 and a width of 7 3/4. What is the total area of the glass in the window? So it has 6 panes. So notice how it looks something like this. So there's my glass. So I get 6 different rectangles here. And the length of one of them. So I'm going to just pull out this one right here. So I'm going to take this one and kind of blow it up, make it a little bit bigger, so I can write down the units here. So the length, we'll say, is 10.5, and this is 7 1/4. And so if I find the area of one, and then I could times by 6, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 window panes, I could find the area of the whole thing. So let's change this to an improper fraction first. So 21 halves. So 10 times 2 plus 1 makes 21 over 2. This is going to be 29 fourths. So 7 times 4 plus 1 makes 29 fourths. So I go 21 halves times by 29 over 4. Well, no cross canceling this time, so we just got to multiply across. So when we do that, 21 times by 29 gives us 609 over 8. Well, I'm going to leave it like this for right now. And I'm going to multiply this 609 over 8 by 6 because there's 6 window panes. Well, I can do a little reducing now. See, 6 goes, both have a common factor of 2, so I can change this to a 3 and this to a 4. Then multiply across, so 609 times by 3 gives me 1827. So all I have to do now is divide. So 1827 divided by 4 gives me 456. 456 3/4 is what's left over. And these are inches squared. So that's the area of the entire window. Well, those are some problems similar to what you'll end up seeing on tonight's homework. Good luck.